This wasn't a mechanical error. It wasn't an act of terror. The plane was in perfect condition, and so was the weather. So what made a perfectly healthy jet plunge into the mountains of Siberia? March 23rd, 1994, Aeroflot Flight 593 departed from Moscow's Sheremetyevo International Airport, bound for Hong Kong's famous Kai Tak Airport. The Airbus A310 carried 63 passengers and 12 crew members. Among those passengers, relief pilot Kudrynsky's 2 children on their first international flight. 39 minutes into the 13-hour flight, the aircraft reached its cruising altitude of 33,000 feet. At this point, Kudrynsky's 15-year-old son, Eldar, and 13-year-old daughter, Yana, were brought into the cockpit while he was on duty, a practice that was not so uncommon at the time. With the autopilot engaged, Captain Kudrynsky, against regulations, turned to his daughter and said,
"Come on, sit here now, in my seat. Would you like that?"
Yana then sat in the left-hand captain's seat. Kudrynsky adjusted the autopilot's heading several times to give her the illusion that she was steering the aircraft. Shortly afterward, it was his son Eldar's turn. He asked if he could turn the control wheel, to which Kudrynsky replied,
"Yes."
Eldar turned the control wheel to the left and held it there for 3 seconds. The autopilot resisted and corrected the roll. At this time, Kudrynsky became distracted by a conversation with his daughter. Eldar was still playing with the flight controls, which disengaged part of the autopilot system. A 15-year-old was now partially in control of an Airbus A310. Every kid's dream, but not like this. Eldar, sensing something was wrong, eventually alerted his father, saying,
"Why is it turning?"
It's turning by itself.
Yes.
The pilots began searching for a reason while the aircraft was banking. They assumed and agreed it had entered a holding pattern. Meanwhile, the bank angle continued increasing, eventually reaching 50 degrees and then passing 63 degrees, a dangerously steep angle for any sized aircraft. Then came the stall warning. Eldar was still in the captain's seat, while his father, Captain Kudrynsky, was standing behind him, yelling out instructions to recover the aircraft from the stall. Co-pilot Piskarev also began to take corrective action, but it was too late. The plane had hit speeds of 740 kilometers an hour, causing extreme G-forces in the cockpit. Just over 1 hour after takeoff, Aeroflot Flight 593 crashed into a snow-covered hillside in Siberia. Investigators concluded that the crash was caused by the unauthorized presence of the captain's son in the cockpit, whose control inputs unknowingly disengaged part of the autopilot. The flight crew failed to recognize the autopilot disconnection and the dangerously steep bank that followed, ultimately leading to a stall, loss of control, and the fatal crash, which resulted in the loss of 63 passengers and 9 cabin crew.